Meeting will be held. Pledge allegiance to the flag. Board members should have the minutes in your packet from the February meeting. Has everyone had a chance to review? We have a motion to accept. Oh, right. I'll make that change. I'll second. Motion made and seconded. Roll call.
Kathy,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Sean,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Frank,
Aye. The packet does not show any correspondence. We'll move to public comment, and Joe, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I thought I looked for you tonight, and I had extremely busy past 2 weeks with county business. So I didn't put together a formal report, but what I wanted to do was to go through a list of accomplishments that we've made in the past year over there, and I think that most folks would find it pretty interesting. What we had was, and some of this was precipitated by malfunctions or breakdowns, and for instance, is the cooler, the Potsdam Bishop section. We replaced those for the housing authority over in Potsdam. We completed a 4-year project with paving 100 additional miles of county roads in St. Lawrence County. A little over $14 million. We completed $8 million worth of renovations at the public safety building, including a new 911 dispatch center, offices for the district attorney's office, a grand jury suite, the civil office for the sheriff's department, and the road patrol deputies that work there, as well as their equipment. We relocated the public defender's office adjacent to county court to make it a little bit easier for them getting called and having to walk from wherever it was their prior offices were to the county court. We opened a satellite office for the Office of Public Defender in Augsburg, which happens to be its busiest port. Opened a third satellite office for Department of Social Services in Governor. Settled the bargaining agreements with 4 of the 7 unions that we have. A $1 million replacement of the chiller in the courthouse. That just all died, and that was in the spring, and we needed to get it finished before the warm weather arrived. So that $1 million. We acquired what is called a full body scanner for the correctional facility. They were seeing an influx of contraband being brought into the jail in one way or another. This is a scanner that's somebody that is incarcerated or will be incarcerated stands in front of that. It scans them and it identifies through sort of like an X-ray where things might be secreted in the body, and if so, then they are strip searched, and whatever the contraband is located, and they are relieved of it. We started a committee to look into the feasibility of GPS in all our county vehicles. That was precipitated by a front-end loader that was stolen from a job site that we, the county, were working on in the Helena area. that, piece of equipment located that piece of equipment, the loader, on an Indian reservation in Quebec the next day. It also gave a roadmap to where it had been. As a result of that, we contacted the tribal police in Akwesasne. They got a hold of the QPF in Canada and the police on the reservation in Canada. Located the loader, took possession of it, got it back into the United States. It was a county loader, and had to be replaced. We're talking $400 million, $227,000. So for an innocuous amount, we were able to locate that and get it back. That precipitated us to consider doing the same with our automobile fleet, our truck fleet, the highway department, which already had them, but in pickup trucks and some of their trailers, they did not have it. Now we all have it, so hopefully, should similar occurrences occur, we'll be, ready to find out where the stuff is and get it back. We're continuing work on the radio towers for the interoperability program that we have with 911 and whatnot. And they just started the erection of one of the last 4 to be constructed in the southern part of St. Lawrence County. Not that Potsdam's in the southern part of the county, but it's more or less centrally located. The rest of them are down towards the Adirondack part. In the courthouse itself, we started a project which will provide space and a court suite for a second family court judge and the staffing that goes along with it. Right now, they're in the process of literally tearing apart what used to be the probation department offices. And I guess the actual reconstruction of it will take place very shortly. And the last thing is that the Indian land claim settlement that's been going on for 40 years. We finally got it settled. It passed the governor's office. It's in the House of Representatives now and in a committee. And supposedly when it comes out of committee, Senator Gillibrand is going to, as in the Senate, offer it for discussion and passage. That'll make some significant changes within the northern part of St. Lawrence County, and even more changes land-wise in Franklin County, the northern part of Franklin County. So that are some of the things, or that are some of the things that we have been involved with over the past month. And just today, 2 of our municipalities, the city of Ogdensburg and the village of Hewelton, got a total of $14.5 million to do work within their locale to improve a lot of things that I won't go into here, but everything from parks and recreation to boat launches to whatever. And it should be exciting time to see how these folks put those monies to work to develop and beautify the areas that were granted those monies. So, plus, it's a heck of a lot of money that's going into the economy of the town. So, any questions?
I have none. Any to the board? Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
The next public comment is Vicky Savino. That's the floor.
Thank you.
Yeah.
sure know how to make the lady work.
Watch your look important.
There you go. My name is Vicki Petzolino. I've been a resident of Morristown for a very long time. I'm here because I have a piece of property next to mine that belongs to the village. Now, I live on 316 Water Street, and right at the bottom of the Northumberland hill. There is a section which is about 20 feet.
Address the decision
Yeah.
making.
Maybe.
That's how you.
Yeah, right, well. What I would like to be able to do is to, take it off the village's hand or the township's hands that they own it. I've kept it since April of 1966. I have, and my husband have taken care of that piece of property. But now I would like to have it, my property, just squared off. Because one of these days, and it's not going to be too soon, the property will go to my kids, and they're going to sell it, I'm sure. And when they do, there's this one section that of like a room. And anyone that wants to buy the place would look straight from Water Street to the wall and say, oh, it's a beautiful piece of property. But then when they find out that there's 20 feet that belongs to the township, they're not going to want to buy it or spend as much money. And I really would like to get that taken care of. If I can. Any questions, sir?
I think it would serve you well if you had a map that you would fill out. You know where to start.
So are you talking about the old road?
Yeah,
The whole road or just the office?
that hill,
Oh, okay.
the Peck Hill.
Yeah, the old one way.
Yes, one way. And
So I think it's good money.
I have a picture of it if you would like to look at it.
oh, yeah, my.
Yeah.
Steve's got
Oh, you got a
a
picture of it?
Yeah,
Can you bring it?
Yes.
Are you suggesting the whole 20 feet, did you say?
Or you just-
yeah, from
Coming
the wall
from your property.
Oh, from the edge of the hill
20 feet,
or,
Yeah.
to,
not Paper Street. No, just to the edge of the street. Oh, that's where that street is.
Yeah.
Oh.
I want to go there.
Yeah, you can see the whole, the retaining wall, the old hill, is pretty much the edge of our yard.
You talking about this area? Including the roadway or just over to?
So the hill, it goes 20 feet over there.
I think I'd like to see a map, no matter what you say. Gotta get
Well, that's
that.
they were here today. I just wanted to know. They definitely want some-
Cause the only thing, like I said, like, if it's just an edge, then I know we're up that hill, like, we're all our main, all our main water sewer.
Not on my side.
Not on your side, no,
No.
but that's what I was asking, it goes all the way to the side,
No,
but it is just to that edge.
the Kevin Crosby asked me if I wanted to buy the whole hill one time, I said, I don't. What do I want with a hill? You know, I said no, and so I would like that. one thing. And
It's
if,
not a gym, it's not a house, right?
but if,
You got the.
Like that out loud.
Have a survey done.
and you did,
And built, and, well, yes, but the survey, you have to survey to that another 20 feet.
Oh.
There have to be a new survey done,
right,
and there would have to be a we have to have an appraised value then, by an appraisal. Well, we have to,
Right,
you know, I just walking you through
right,
the steps.
and I understand.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm gonna be around for a little.
Claim eminent domain.
Listen,
Now, don't be in a hurry,
when we were addressing with the, somebody addressing the board, if you want the floor, you ask for it. We're gonna try to be a little more formal instead of
Okay.
everybody talking all over the place.
I apologize.
Okay,
I have a question. So, I can see it in that way, answer the question, but, so the property that's next on the other side of the, that's on Water Street on the other side.
Yeah.
That would, how far would that be from the property that she bought? And that.
I don't know the footage across there to the side, to that present sidewalk. I think that's where.
You don't want the
I
hill.
know, I don't.
She just wants 20 yards on this side.
But I think you're asking how much is left.
Right.
Yes, and I think what we have to do is to get a map with the footage. So why don't we address that? Look, I'm getting the impression that the board is amicable to this.
Right.
Let us get, survey maps and then we'll go from there.
Fine, that'll be fine.
So we're sort of tabling it today.
That's okay, like I said.
You know, if
Thank
you,
you very much
if
for listening.
if you wanna mow all the way across, that's good.
No. That was the reason I said no to Kevin at first, like, and have to mow the darn thing, and no,
Thank you, Vicky.
okay.
Is there anyone else that wanted public comment at this time?
Thank you.
You wanted the library?
Yes, I have information for you for the library. May we leave?
Sir, of course.
Oh, you gotta say, yeah.
Hey, you years ago I would. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Okay, someone from the library is gonna address the board.
Yeah, because I think there were some questions last time Rose was here and Carolyn was here.
Yeah, most of our stuff answered.
So I thought, well, I'll just give you the information because all of our annual reporting just
Thank
happened.
you.
So I thought, well, I'll just stop in. Sorry, I'm not on the agenda. My name is Sarah. And I'm the new director at the library. I don't think I have copies for everybody, but I have two. Money. In case you wanna know what's going on. I think we just maybe pass on that, there's some maybe. So my name is Sarah Ducharme, I'm the new library director. And so on our annual reports this year, I just thought I would give you a quick rundown. So this year we served, in 2025, I should say, we served 5,210 people. Our Wi-Fi usage, this could be if you stopped in the parking lot and, you know, use your phone, or if you came into one of our computers, you use one of those. This year it was up to 86,750 people use our Wi-Fi. Our collections in the library would be books, audio books, DVDs, all of this would include like juvenile fiction, adult fiction, nonfiction books. All of our totals are, at this time, 7,317. And then transactions in total that we did were 5,074. There's all kinds of other statistics that come in, but it's totally boring and I don't think you care too much about it. So I gave you the basics of what we're doing and how we serve our community. And then I just wrote up just this little thing about the library. Maybe some of you might come in, maybe some of you don't, but this is what we offer. So the Morristown Public Library plays an important role in supporting and strengthening the local community. As a public resource, it provides free access to books, digital materials, computers, and the internet. This access allows students, families, and individuals to find information, complete schoolwork, and explore new ideas regardless of their financial situation. By making knowledge available to everyone, the library helps create equal opportunities for learning. In addition to providing information, the library supports education and lifelong learning. Children can develop a strong reading skills through story times and youth programs, while teens and adults can attend workshops, lectures, and educational events. These opportunities encourage people of all ages to continue learning outside of school and to expand their interests. The Morristown Public Library also serves as a welcoming community space where people can gather, study, and participate in activities. Events such as clubs, cultural programs, and community meetings bring residents together and help build connections among neighbors. This sense of community strengthens local relationships and promotes civic engagement. Finally, the library supports economic growth by offering resources for job seekers and professionals. Access to computers, online job applications, and research tools can help people search for employment, build resumes, and develop new skills. Overall, the Morristown Public Library positively impacts the community by promoting education, providing equal access to information and technology, and creating a space where people can connect and grow together. So, I just wanted to give you guys an update of what was happening down there and what we offer in case you want to come visit.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
It's
Thank
not
you.
like a mission statement. Thank you.
Yep.
Is there anybody else that wanted to address the board in public comment? If not, we're gonna move into the body of the meeting. Chris,
Couple of notes about finance. You're probably well aware that our insurance costs this year are over budget. And that's partly because of a little rate increase that we didn't allow for, but also because we decided to pick up cyber coverage. You're aware of some of the problems that some of the communities in upstate New York have had with cyber hacking that has tied up their money. So we wanted some coverage to protect us from that. The amount that we're over is $7,770.51. And I'd like to present a motion to make a budget modification to increase the budget for insurance by that amount.
How much was the cyber? That's for.
That was about 2,500.
And the rest of
This
that
is
rate
just from memory day.
And the rest of
That's fine.
the rest of that was rate increase?
The rest of it is rate increase, gotcha. And we did budget for a rate increase, but we didn't budget enough.
No.
And this budget mod would decrease the contingency fund. And Jill, I'll give you those account numbers, if we approve the budget.
Okay.
So increase unallocated insurance, decrease contingency, $7,770.51. And I would make that as a motion.
Awesome.
the motion has been made, seconded, roll call, please.
Sean.
Aye.
Kathy,
Aye.
Dave,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Frank.
Aye, the motion carries.
And two other really quick notes about finances. We're just at the beginning of the year. So we haven't had much chance for much of anything to go wrong. Pretty much everything's going right. But dog control is slightly, if you took 2/12 of the year for the statement at the end of February, it'd be running a little bit ahead. But that's a very seasonal not seasonal, but your regular up and down thing. It depends on how many dogs he has to board, whether he has to pick up an animal. And then somewhat the same is true of payroll in sewer district number 1. I know we've had some freeze ups in January and February, and I think that probably this is allocation of overtime for sewer district number 1. And we'll just have to see how it goes as we proceed through the year. But those things, otherwise, everything looks right in proportion to where it should be at the end of February.
Any questions for Chris? If not, we will move on to,
Chris, you said on Sewer district one, is that from when we bought those parts, the pump rebuilt?
This was this is in the payroll section. So I'm thinking. I think that they try to allocate the hours to the district ones over time. And Dean, if that's not what it is, there's somewhat of a reasonable answer, sometimes things get allocated correctly, but usually there's a straight answer.
Okay. And we'll move into, the water project update. You see that before you? The total budget. The project funding. We're working on closing the New York State EXC. Want to receive the funds for the ban. Here's the schedule. December and March, through March was the design phase. The EFC financing was the December 25 to April. Regulatory agency review, May of 26, inclusive. It will be going out, it will go out in June 26th, and construction will start between July and December. That's contract one. If you recall, it was broke down into, yes, at your suggestion. It's the second contract, the design mirrors, goes in April of this year. Regulatory agent review, April of this year through August. It will go out September, and the construction will start in August this year, and October through August of 27. So, any questions? Item number 3 is the Bayside Park Pavilion update. The update that I have is we did not get the grant through T-Mobile, which is very disappointing, but we're learning to deal with not getting grants. So that's what I have for you. If you want to
Well, Frank, I'd like to advocate for going ahead with construction of the pavilion, having the town do it itself. And I'd like to try to explain my thinking on that. The pavilion, this is a step in the long-term plans for the village, or for the town of Morristown. It's not just a facility for concerts. The local waterfront revitalization plan that dates back to 1990, the town's comprehensive plan, which we did in 2019 and revised, I believe, in 2023. They both look for improvements in the public land on the bay. Specifically, the LWRP calls for expansion of parking, refurbishment of the bulkheads, a service building with restrooms, and installation of a pump out facility. Really, a lot of that's been done. Although I think the last time I knew, the pump out facility was not in use. But we've done a lot of these things, and while we have to go back at some of them to make them really shipshape, we've made progress in the time since those goals were set. The comprehensive plan speaks of a different way of looking at economic development, from jobs to making Morristown a highly desirable place to live. And specific steps that are outlined in the comprehensive plan are to reinstall the docks and slips that have been located in Bayside Park. And I'm quoting now. This plan calls to establish a swimming beach with a bathhouse, a playground, open air pavilion, and a parking area. So really, this pavilion is part of what we had as a long-term plan. And this plan was, product of community input, for the comprehensive plan in 2019. There were more than 40 people who turned out at a meeting that we had over at the Briar Hill Fire Department. And for the review in 2023, we had dozens of people here in this room. I don't remember how many. But in both cases, there were committees of citizens established who came to a number of meetings, and they hashed out the suggestions, and then they laid out steps to take to accomplish them. And the question comes up, I think, is all this activity effective? And I think it's a reasonable question. Let me cite a few numbers from the comprehensive plan that the planning department prepared. This is their data. A majority, 51.1% of the housing units in Morristown were built before 1960. Across Lawrence County, over the whole county, 50.1% of housing units were built before 1960. So it's practically the same number. It's 1% different. Let's move to
Chris, would you say that one more time? I'm sorry.
sure.
Really common.
So in 1960, of the houses built before 1960 in Morristown, 51% of the houses were built before 1960. Okay. Across the whole county, 50% were built before 1960. So very much the same look. But if you look at what's been built since the year 2000, in the town of Morristown, 14% of the units, housing units, have been built since the year 2000. We've really had substantial building. Across the county, 9.4% has been built since 2000. So we have a 50% higher rate of construction in Morristown. And what this means to me is that Morristown is drawing people into the community. We are seeing that in investment in whole building. And I see a Bayside Pavilion as a part of a multi-step process. It's not the cure-all deal, but it's a part of the process of making this a desirable place to live. And because of that, I am prepared after we had discussion to make a motion to go ahead and build it.
Good question. The news that came out today about Spring Hamilton receiving all those millions of dollars, does that mean that we're not receiving any, or is that a different? We are. So that is genuine.
So that and application is next week. Yeah.
Okay.
We have got it all. I'd like to know whether we're going to get a copy of the successful grant, so we can see what we missed.
We are. That's public information, and I note. I mean, I agree with that. This is disappointing not to receive that yet. But I would noted this afternoon that Ogdensburg had already submitted applications 3 times or 4 before they received the grant.
It's our second.
And I think that that tells me something about what it takes to win these grants. You just have to keep at it. It is a separate issue. I mean, this pavilion is not a.
Probably the one thing that I would stress is that they do look at what you are doing. And you can have the floor and all the discussion.
I have a question for Chris.
Yes. Right.
So, I'm looking at this comprehensive plan, which is dated 2000. All right, my voice is gonna go, which will make my husband happy, but, and it talks about pursuing, revitalization funds in order to establish all these things. And I understand what you're saying about you know, like anything, if you put money in, then more, maybe a little more, I think, to help you, I don't know. I personally am not opposed to the construction of the pavilion. I think we need to be very mindful of how much that costs and what we can do to minimize that while also getting a quality product at the same time. And you and I talked about this in the past, I personally don't think that that's the answer to the concert series because of the boat ramp, but
And we're not going that way.
okay, okay. So, but I think that I personally, I don't have an issue with the pavilion itself. I think it's a positive for the area, for people that are out on the river. There's not, I know when you're out in a boat, there's not a lot of places to stop and do anything. Honestly, you know, unless you just dock or, you know, anchor your boat out there. There's not a lot of stuff on land, because you have to go, I'm looking at which they have to go to Al's Bay or somewhere landing. There's not really anything here in Morristown to draw from the so, that's why I'm definitely for it. I just am concerned about cost.
You want to address?
Okay. So, pavilion, no grant. We know it's already gonna cost $44,000 to start, correct?
That's the kit.
Yep. So how much for the concrete? How much for the electrical?
The electrical is already in the budget.
No, it's not, it's not wire.
It's broken too.
I just conduit.
My thing, when we talk.
Yeah.
We have no idea what the cost is, the final cost. You do any work there, it's gonna cost a rate. So that drives the cost up, right? We have no idea what's gonna cost. Posted rate, anything done with government money has to post rate. So you're gonna have to, I'm sure Dean can do the concrete. You gotta have a certified electrician to do it with people in that thing. You just can't have willy-nilly. So there's a big expense. No idea what's gonna be, no idea where you're gonna have it for lights, no idea where you're gonna have it for outlets, nothing. We want a new village employee, a Hamlet employee, there's another $80,000. Where are we gonna get the money from? We already have one of the highest tax rates on the river, the town-wise. Hamlet 85 cents, for it, 3.58, I think. Where's the money gonna come from? That's my big thing.
Well, I think we have to know what is the amount of money.
We have no idea.
Before we make a
We have
decision
no
on
clue.
it, right? I mean, I'm definitely for it.
I'm a little,
I just want to know what the cost is.
I'm a little confused because the kit comes for them putting it up, does that mean we still need posted rates? Even though they're the ones,
100%,
even though they're the ones that come in the construction?
100%. Then the concrete, what the cost of that is, like I said, the electrical, all that, nothing's done. And we all know why it's going there, why this was never discussed before the concert series, I'll go there. That's the only reason we're putting it there.
I don't think
100%,
so.
no,
It was the main reason why we felt we put that there.
Well, let's talk about it back in.
I know hard, you know, I'm not spending taxpayer money.
I mean, we need a new Hamlet employee, that's 80 grand right there.
Can I wanna say one thing, you guys have never recognized the added money that we've taken in from our CDs. You've never talked about the extra money that we brought in, you've never recognized that from the pot shop down here. So I understand your concern,
Still
but
the town money is.
I understand that. And I also understand, I believe that we need to be thinking, I'm almost 82. None of this is going to affect me, but I want better for this town. And sometimes you spend money to make money.
Better for this town, speaking of tax rate, people come here, and to Chris's point, your numbers, I don't agree with. Most of the money that I see is seasonal. Dave, what do you think? It's seasonal money. These, that isn't year-round homes. They're seasonal. They're coming out of town, they're spending big bucks. It happens in the Bay, it happens in Clayton, Transport, you name it. Somebody's got 1.7 million in a house I've never doing right now, and they're done. They're not year round. They can't stay there anymore. So I mean, No, I'm not spending tax.
But you're still including tax for the purchase of it.
They have the tax base to play with. We don't have the islands, like Alexander, and I talked at Lake with Ronnie Thompson about that, what you guys are trying to do with Morristown. Me too on board. Like he says, it just shakes his head, you just don't have it, like they have it. The tax base like that.
Who's gonna police it? Dean? Who's gonna?
We're talking about a new employee.
Oh.
Again, this is.
There's about $160,000 right there.
I gotta spend it on the employee that we need to save the overtime and the two guys that are getting more out.
I mean, that's $160,000. It's gonna be 80 grand all the way around, but.
All right, you guys killed the possibility of the concert series being on the, down here.
Mhm.
So
West Arm Museum is
it's
beautiful.
not our place to tell them where they can have it. We can tell them where they can't have it.
Yep.
But we can't tell them where they can have it.
That's $160,000. That's what I'm looking at. I don't want my taxes, well, believe me, I already had enough. You know, employees 80 grand all day long. That building's gonna be $80,000 all day long. By the time you get the postal grade, you get the electrical, you get the concrete done.
So the only way it could be anything different is if the town, if in fact the town did it, correct?
Then you taking the money off the highway fund? Yeah.
Well, what you do here when you go fence?
That was totally different because that was built.
No, I know that, but where did you take the funds from? I'm just asking.
It wasn't from
Did the,
sewer, water, or any of that.
who built it?
Kevin and Pat built it.
So part of their workforce put into this.
When they weren't doing what they were supposed to be doing outside, and a lot of it was done over a long period of time.
The Dean's budget.
Just a minute, just give somebody has the floor.
Can I make a comment as far as this pavilion? It was probably brought up initially as a concert series venue. It's not just strictly for concert. It could be for weddings, banquets, anything like that, any sort of, venue anybody has any interest. And as far as the cost of the building, you're addressing, Sean now, he's in terms of post rate. These guys that come up and build it, we realize that it's a sort of government. If it costs them more money, if they have to pay more money, that's their responsibility. This cost is already included.
You gotta see that, you gotta.
Well, it's okay, that's fine, but it's already included in the cost of the thing. There's no way it's gonna cost $80,000. David and I could probably figure out the cost of concrete right now.
Yeah.
The problem is posted rate is $45 to $50 an hour a man,
Right,
and I know that isn't figured in that price.
Well, they're aware,
it's,
they gave it a quote and they're
it's-
aware of the county budget.
it's materials and labor furnished. It's both quotes we got.
I'm not against
Like,
it. I'm not against
It
this.
costs more, that's,
How about we go back and be sure that they know that it would take posted rate? Does that sound reasonable?
The dean presents you guys with a budget for highway. Not to do buildings and all that stuff in the town. His budget was presented to do highway work.
Correct.
Then the sewer and water guys, the sewer and water guys.
Another thing, but I was the one asking, well, if we didn't do it that way, so let's back up. Let us contact them and see what if they recognize that with the posted rates, the quote that they gave us.
But my question is, I have nothing against the concerts, nothing. But who says they get every Monday night if they aren't putting any money to it? Well, somebody else wants it on Monday night for a family thing.
I think I mean, who's gonna clean this pavilion, and who's gonna take care of it? Do we even think about that extra cost?
That's what I'm saying, Frank.
it's a volunteers, there's gotta be some crowd,
That's not.
residents.
Yeah, but it's the same thing with the flowers. Who's watering the flowers? The town guy. It'd be a flower. Doing all the water.
Okay, well, what's the flowers?
Why does the town, this guy's going around watering the flowers, it's the same thing. So who's gonna, no, it isn't. If the town guys are up down there cleaning it, it's the same thing.
Yeah, I think it's pretty clear that if there were a pavilion built, that the town guys who work in the, we call it sometimes the DPW crew, that they would be the ones who clean the building.
Well, that means you have to have a third employee.
Yes, probably.
So there's 80,000 plus. I'll go with 70,000.
I'll volunteer to go out and clean
Yeah.
it. It's gonna be posted right.
Exactly.
Can I go back and ask the
Sure.
question? And it does have to do with tax base, like your numbers, that there's so much construction in Morristown.
Yeah.
Does that include houses, like seasonal houses that were torn down and rebuilt? Or is that brand new construction? Because there's a big difference between if something was already there and it was torn down.
This wording, as I read it, is specifically what the county planning department wrote in the comprehensive plan. And so I don't know any more than I just read, in terms of whether or not
That's a plan, I also remember. But I'd say where you're going with this is
these are
inventory, not the inventory, but
county
the
road.
land base was on the.
It wasn't new construction. It was
Right.
rebuilt.
Right. Yeah.
Well, tear down and rebuild. but-
Right, yeah.
So I don't think I know the answer.
Okay.
So we're gonna leave this.
Let me just say one thing quick. I'm sorry. That makes a difference with numbers. That's something does that reflect the numbers a lot differently?
Because you're thinking is they did take demolished the seasonal place of decreased assessed value.
Right,
So it wasn't all increased assessed value.
exactly.
Yes, I understand the point.
I'm sorry, Chris.
No, I understand.
Yep.
So item number 3, where we're leaving this, we are tabling it. I'm going to get definition, and then we'll come back to it.
We're gonna need a price on the concrete,
I think
all
we
the
did,
electrical installation.
I thought we did get a price.
It's 10,000. It was 10,000.
Okay,
We gotta figure
That's how you're looking like that high road, what do you think? I'm interested in what do you-
I think it's fine.
Yeah, but with stamp and
Oh.
colors.
Yeah, okay, colors, all that.
yeah, we're not gonna see.
Well, we'll eliminate the stamp and the coloring and put a roof finish on it.
I mean, that's what was asked for that night.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, that's right, it was.
So then you gotta figure out what you need for electrical.
What are you picking out for lights?
Yeah, you get a drawing of that, prices, and
Oh, we'll do that. Okay, we will do that, bring it back when we have more information. I know that one point, Tristan hadn't you put a ceiling on the whole project, am I wrong, Chris?
There certainly was discussion of it.
I know certain stuff for the sound.
No, not the ceiling of billing, the ceiling on how much will be spent.
Oh.
There's a little difference.
Yeah, too. Yes, certainly, right.
If it could be done for so much, then the motion wouldn't carry, it wouldn't pass. Because it couldn't be done for that. But anyways, let's approach it this way. All right. Let's move on to new business. We have a letter to Claxton Heifer requesting reopening of Dr. Dunn's office for the new provider. You have the floor. We want to brought this up, you have the floor.
I'll just ask my, individual. And just answer the question, they want to know if a letter was sent. So that, prepares everything.
Yes, we sent to 4 different entities. One went to the hospital, to the board, one went to the county. One went to our congressman, one went to the assembly.
Okay.
Now,
No, I did hear something that River Hospital, maybe we could send. Apparently River Hospital, he was trying to approach River Hospital,
I've heard of
after them to come back up, so maybe we could send a letter to them as well. I did hear that.
well, maybe I'd like to try to talk to him before we do that.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, he may, I mean,
He was there.
yeah, if he owns the building, he may know.
I don't know if he does anything. You know, you
Yeah.
hear all.
Yes, he does.
He does a lot.
He pays taxes on it.
Yeah, at least if we,
Okay, yeah.
And I also, I feel like I'm not sure that with that whole mess that's going on down there, that with them being in the middle of a bankruptcy, whether they can open or reopen maybe their business right now, until they get that figured around, so. But I certainly agree with them that I don't want hospitals either, but, and I certainly want providers to be available to people because primary care is very important, but, I think that, sorry, well, I would be shocked if they could do anything in the midst of whatever it is that not that they're doing what they know, but it sounds like it's. Pretty ugly.
and then they said the new one that they appointed was just as bad, so. That's me, I don't know.
We don't know. There's so much that floats around, just like somebody telling me that Kepler or North Star, whatever, they own the building that. I understand it, not that way, but I'll have a conversation with them again.
I also think it might be impactful too if we try to, I know Sean said something about the fire department sending a letter, I don't know. It might be more impactful to government, you know, higher than us. To say, you know, the school utilizes a provider, the local provider, the fire departments all use a local provider. The town, you know, so on and so forth, that if there was a combined request to, you know, don't forget about us, we need a provider there. Might be more impactful, if we could do some kind of a combined letter to whoever we're gonna send it to. Not to North Star.
I haven't,
Or it's just a thought.
Yeah.
I know the school utilize him for all the kids' physicals and mentally. It's a lot of people. that don't have that.
Okay, anything on that? If not, we'll move into, department reports. Good job, Paul.
I provided you with a written one. I did send out an email. I hope everybody got it. We have the harassment and workplace violence annual training being offered on March 26th for all councilmen and employees. That is mandatory, so we do need to take it.
That the old time is offered, Joe?
No, they do offer it other times, and then after the training, you can get on and
Do it.
look at through NYMER, yeah.
Okay. Could you send that information out as well? To the, or what?
It should be right in that email, yeah.
Thanks.
I'm going to be attending the quarterly, St. Lawrence County Clerks Association meeting on the 19th. And the annual conference is in Albany in April, the 19th to the 22nd. We did get our new copiers in the office, my office as well as the court office. Our leases were up. Our new machines are cyber security. They have but internal cyber, I don't know, maintenance on it. So we're good there, which is good for the courts because a lot of their emails and stuff for probation, and it's not able to be taken. So. And I'll be out of the office starting March 26th for at least 2 weeks, could be longer, for medical purposes. So I'll be reaching out to my deputies to have the office covered. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you. Ian, we turn the meeting over to you.
Well, spring's here, right? Over.
It is.
Until tomorrow. So yeah, we kind of got through the big thaw. Everything went well. We opened a lot of ditches. Everything went well over the weekend. You know, Tom and Gary just had a few flooded pots, wasn't terrible. Flows were way up, still haven't figured out how, hopefully we do water meters, we can try and figure out flows from some pumps going in. I was with Village Peopleton this morning. They had the same thing, I mean, just with all of the just, people put it in there somehow, some way. Their big thing is now, they have to pay every gallon that they do goes to Ogden Creek. So over the weekend, they pumped over 150,000 gallons of every day that normally they don't have. That they pay for, like, basically like out of runoff water that they're paying that treated not on the system. That hasn't been a very good system for them, but that's theirs. So everything else has been going good. I was asked last meeting by around numbers to try and cut my budget. So I did some looking into things of last year's budget, because obviously this year we're only a few months into it. So two big purchases that were bought out of highway last year was the Chevy pickup truck, that serves water and sewer in here. The highway paid 59,000 of that. Basically 2,500 left came out of the other four districts. And then the lawnmower that mows the parks in here, not the lawnmower that mows roadsides. That basically the whole thing came out of $40,544. So I mean, there's two big expenses. Then I dig into the payroll side of it, and 55% of one of the employees comes out of highway budget, and 25% of the salary of another employee that comes out of highway budget.
What's there in the handle?
What's that?
There in the handle.
Right. Do they work out on the roads? Like today, they're all patching. I know it's been a few years, so I mean, it's kind of been, but like Tom and Gary last year had 227 hours overtime apiece. So you take 55% of that, their overtime. We do try it and take it out of, divide it out somewhat a little more with the districts, but it's just a big chunk of that. It's still, highway guy had 106 hours of plowing last year. They had 15 hours of overtime, working on two water breaks and sewer.
Which you took out of your own.
Which comes out of the highway. I don't try and divide that out, and just, because they have a formula for your, how they divide stuff out. So instead of trying to change it, you know. And I get it, we're all one now, but you know, the districts are supposed to be, they're one.
So really, that pickup shouldn't more your money. Technically, no.
But you were looking at this, that I asked Frank about that, why I did that, 59,000 coming on a highway, and not this one. That's right. I don't think that, say, either Kristen or I thought that that was specific to the sewer districts and so forth. Does make sense to me, that it would be allocated. I would like to, before we do our budget for next year, for 2027, have the town board talk about the allocation of costs with the water and sewer districts. Because we set up a best phase plan at the end of 2019, which we're pretty much operating on now. And I think now that we look back at it, that this allocation of salaries is not, doesn't reflect the way work is. There is some time that the Tom and Gary spent working on townwide projects, but it's not the ratios that we're presently using to allocate the thing. And I think that we all recognize that sewer and water budgets have got a balance. If you present more expenses to those, you have to raise the rates. We're also looking at the schedule of rate increases that we've got in front of us in January. And we just need to look at this and say to ourselves, is there any alternative other than rate increases? And deal with it, you know, whatever it is what we need to do. I don't think that this is going to lend itself a great deal to default, just some decision making. I'm not, our conversation earlier today about funding a person to sell and do that conversation again.
Well, we haven't yet talked about adding a person, and I do have some real thoughts about adding a person.
It's a good time to do it.
Can I ask a question before we go on? Do we budget overtime for the employees already? Is that in the budget?
A typical procedure for budgeting is to take last year's number and then increase it by the percentage in the pay rate. And so that assumes every year that you're gonna use as much overtime as you did last year.
Okay.
And generally, again, generally, we try to estimate, expenses high and revenues low. Be conservative on revenues and liberal on expenses. And that typically has worked out pretty well, over the years, we put a couple $100,000 into the bank every year to be adjusted by the years when we buy a big truck or by the years when we get a check for COVID expenses. Those things are not always, well, trucks are kind of predictable. We are able to predict that. We figure that every year that highway needs something over $100,000, might be $108,000 every year. And if you don't spend it this year, you're going to next year, so be ready for it. So I think the answer is yes, we always have budgets and overtime.
Can you just tell me what the overtime numbers were for last year?
So Gary and Tom were 227. The highway guys were 106 plowing and then 15 hours. And I didn't go back through, I know, I just wanted to, because on my payroll sheet, so I didn't put through every page, but it was 15 hours of water and sewer that they had overtime. Besides like through the day, so that would be like we worked over that night, like through the day, they worked on water, so usually,
That's for the whole year.
that was the last.
So that comes up, that's 348 hours, is that right? 348 overtime hours?
Per man. Per man,
Per man. Oh, so you're saying Gary and Tom at 227
each, correct,
Gotcha.
each.
So that's around 700. So,
When you're 4 times every 106.
Okay.
Yeah, 106.
okay. Gotcha. So, okay. So that's like half of it.
Yeah.
So is it okay if I tell you what I figured out on money that might be available for another position? And am I jumping the gun, Dean?
No, you're good. I just don't, if you want, I can explain to you too. So Chris and I met earlier today. So I did go back, I started for the town in 2001 part-time. At that time at the highway, we had 6 full-time guys, 2 part-timers. In 2004, when I became full-time, we had 5 full-time guys there. 2010, we dropped down to 4 guys with 1 part-time. Then in 2019, when the village dissolved, we dropped, still stayed at 4 here. They had 3 plus of mower guy. We came back out with 2 guys, 4 full-time on the highway, 1 part-time. So over the years, and I think at one time, I couldn't find the records back, but I think there were 7 full-time guys at the highway. Now back then, they ran wing guys. Over the years, things have changed. That's done away with, so I mean, at that point, I mean, we're doing the same as much as 6 guys did before, 7 guys, and we just keep getting, people are getting wore out, especially the 2 in here on the water sweeps.
Can you give us insight on some of the things that can't get done because of what you have?
Well, there's just tons of little stuff. I mean, there's from the painting, the building maintenance stuff. I mean, there's just, we have Bill in here now doing, stuff. If you had an all around guy, like I said, could possibly work on that. Want to clean the park, because this other guy, I said, I would feel that you would do away with any part-time in the summer. I already told some of them that, if this did go through, you're gonna have to work a Friday, Saturday, take it Monday, Tuesday off. Not saying you gotta work all day, but you gotta come in and do your 4 hours, 5 hours, whatever the schedule works out to be. We're just busy enough here in the weekend, especially Fridays and Saturdays, when people coming up, turning the water on, or finding out they have a leak, or, you know, I just think it would eliminate some of that.
Yeah, I want Kathy to have a little better feel.
Right, and as
The
I,
rest of us have been on the
Yeah.
board. for it. Okay. So,
Okay, so I've done some, pencil pushing. And, what I've got here is a collection of, there's one for here in that section. A collection of assumptions on cost and expenditures. What I did was calculate costs on the assumption that we would hire a person starting on July first, so for 6 months. And $22 an hour. And you can see the salary. Now, if you question the benefits, I want to tell you, this ratio is direct from the financial statement from last year. This includes health insurance, social security, disability. Isn't that a kick in the butt? 52% of payroll. Anyway, that would come to 34,700 some change for the year 2026. Now, I looked at some sources of funds. Last year, we spent $7,500 on the excellent summer part-time. And I looked at the overtime last year, and I did a calculation that produced slightly different numbers from yours. But I have this printed at this point. We don't need to adjust it right now. But Dean's number was high. It's not going to go lower than this. So what I did was take half of last year's overtime for Tom and Gary, assuming that they'd still have to work some overtime. Though not as much. So that's $7,000. And then we have in our current budget $15,000 to do sidewalk work. And I'm a great advocate for maintaining our sidewalks, but if we delay new projects for a year, we've got to keep some money in there because there are a couple of places in sidewalks where there's some danger issues, you know, things that need to be fixed this year. So I pulled $10,000 out of the sidewalk budget. And then we've had some money that we've labeled as contingency. And this particular chart shows pulling $5,500 out of the highway contingency. That would leave $4,000. And we always end up using all this contingency money. I mean, by the end of the year, we'll do budget bonds that will chew up this contingency money. But it's not foolish to trim it down to 4,000. We have some contingency money in the general budget, and I pulled only 5 out of that, and that would leave 21,000. And that would come to a little over $35,000. So by this particular layout, if you made these changes, we would have the money, we could budget the money to hire a person on July 1st.
I have a question. Did this guy get cleared for sewer and water? I'm gonna go.
I was just gonna ask that question.
Dean, why don't you speak to that?
that's really where that's where we're lacking really concern about is in water and sewer. Like I said, you know, if we get the other person here, Gary and Tom in the wintertime, one of those, they're not on the water sewer column that week or however we decide to work the schedules out, they can come to the highway also with the fifth truck. We wouldn't have the part-time Jim Lowry out there.
You're proposing for 6 months.
That'll be another.
So that number is now 68 grand, because he's gonna be there for a year.
Okay, we're just trying, we're addressing the balance of the year.
Plus. So the 75, 10,000 for sidewalk, contingency in the highway, contingency in the budget, that's all gonna be gone. Next year, it's all gonna come out of something else.
That's right, we're gonna have to make the space for it.
Now, this is just how we deal with this for the last 6 months.
So if someone's gonna, to cover, just make sure, I just wanna make sure I understand what you're saying. If someone's gonna cover, be able to do everything that Gary and Tom do in sewer and water,
Right,
they have to have a lot of education and training to be able to do that.
just train, we do everything in-house training and what, we have companies that come in and do it,
Okay,
yes.
so is that cost effective in that?
Yes, it's either that or you're sending away for a week's training, like, the waters wherever, right now, could be flat, guy, could be doing, then, sewers in Indiana, Rochester, Indiana. Our E1s are in Albany, New York. But that's where the class is at. Most of these places have got people on the road now, like last year we did a week-long, E1 training here. Everybody got trained on E1 rebuilding of the pump. That saved us from sending them out at whatever cost, we do them all in-house. So is it gonna, my thing is too, like, just so you understand, is it gonna cut down on the overtime? You're still gonna have two guys coming in on a service. You're not just eliminating, like, that guy's gonna be on the second shift. That, you know, from 3 in the afternoon to 11 at night, Gary and Tom's not gonna call it other guy. You're still gonna have overtime. Last year was a bad year. If we had, this year's been good, we had snow coming. We didn't have a lot of freeze up. The sewer system worked. Sherry, anybody, Dave Stell, Mark used it on the board. Our sewer system sucks when it's winter time. It just does. Cold weather, it doesn't like it. And you can't predict that, you know, because you can't predict the weather from day to day. So that's where I just want to make sure you understand that, you know, yes, it'll help. It'll give those guys a break. You know, we can have another guy, like if they were out all night, right now, they have to come in the next day and keep on working. Where that you had two guys out all night, those guys could take the next day off, where you wouldn't have to pay those overtime, you know.
I just think these numbers are distracting, because it's not gonna cover the next 6 months.
No, this is just talking about getting through this
I realize that.
because it's not in the
But it's
budget
still gonna be $68,000 the next term.
next year.
Like I said. And then it's gonna be more money, because after 6 months, they get a raise. 6 months.
Well, that's, they're not in the, so, I mean, but, raises, but yes, I mean, you know, like down the road, they're trying to get. Yeah.
So if you just look at overtime hours that the current staff utilized in the last year, it's like you're saying, it's about half of the employee. So, right, it's about 1,000, well, a little more than 1,000, so it's because a full-time employee is like 28 or something right there, right? So half of an employee is like, what, 10, 20. So if this is so just covering overtime hours, is half a person, is what we think, half-time person. Half-time person, they too much. Hold in my brain.
Yeah, you don't forget, overtime's time and a half. So
Oh, I know. So I'm just trying to figure out what else would we get from adding a full-time person other than just allowing the guys to have a little bit of,
Eliminating,
which I totally understand that they deserve. I'm not-
eliminating the 2 part-time people.
I'm sorry,
The 2 part-time people won't be anymore this summer and winter. That eliminates them 2 people. Part-timers.
what did you say,
The
Sean?
part-timers, it eliminates the summer help and the winter help.
Okay,
The plow truck, you know, like Jim Raleigh.
so right now we have a part-time summer person or
Oh, yeah.
minimally.
Hmm?
But that's not really half-time, that's just
30 hours a week,
3 hours a week for how many weeks?
from the time the flowers are planted to the time they die.
For the graph. That's going.
What's that, like 4 months?
Issues from May to September.
Maybe September? And that person's in the same pay range?
Yeah, there were 20, I think, last year now. Maybe that 25. You know, well, she gets in those spouses and Easter hours and stuff.
So really, if we're talking about replacing 2 part-time people with 1 full-time person, the financial impact is not that much.
Oh, yeah. Sure.
I think there'll still be an increase because
Part-time, so healthy.
and we probably can't totally
Some of us
eliminate
doesn't
the
go right.
part-timer in the highway.
Like Jim's got a CDL.
Plus no retirement, got for the retirement. Health insurance,
Right,
all that stuff, that which they did not get.
but it wouldn't be 68,000 or 70,000, 80,000.
Could be more than that. That's
We
not,
got rid of two part, we got
No,
rid of
no,
the
no.
summer person and the
that's
part-time
what it's
person.
gonna
we
be
have.
for a full-time,
The full time.
Right.
68,000 plus you have your retirement and your health insurance.
Right.
So that's probably another, I don't know. I think a single person, 7,900, 6,900.
You're not gonna get a guy with $22 an hour in a CDL.
Right, and that's why I said, you know, we could, right now, we have two extra guys, basically with Gary and Tom, we could rotate them out there. And I think it just opens up the area where you can hire. If you wanna go with CDL, yeah, you're gonna have to pay. I'm-
So that position is, if we were talking about the new position,
Jim is
does not
kinda-
need to be a CDL.
So where I tried to put, as I was making the job description up, is labor, basically not an MEO, you know, like a labor position. That way the person can say, well, I wasn't hired for just water and sewer, if you haven't banged the handrails, cleaning the bathhouse, going out the highway and putting up road signs.
What was the total?
Kirsten hasn't been here, so I didn't pull it out.
The Jim's numbers on the summer part-time.
Yeah. I can get you Jim's numbers. I didn't think of that.
I just wanna make sure I understand. I'd like to know where we are right now, if we did away with that summer person and the part-time person that we have over, and instead added in a full-time person, what's that financial difference look like?
For a year.
Right.
Okay, the full-time position would be, let's call it $70,000, because there would be a little raise after for the new year.
Okay,
But it's not a great big deal. I think that 500, let me just a second. There are 52 weeks in a year, 40 hours a week, so it's 2,080 times a month. Let's say it's $1 increase, so it's another $2,000 and 70, that makes 70,000 in the ballpark. So if we took out the summer part-time, and that's only 7,500. And if we cut the other part-time, bear with me for a second, because I've actually got the number. I don't think I got it. I'm sorry, I didn't bring the payroll information, so
Yeah, I didn't,
if I were to pick a number of 35,000 a month, very far off on
for
that,
what's that?
for Jim Long.
It's probably less than that. I would probably say 15 to 20. I mean, I can get that number tomorrow.
Yeah.
I can go back to all my bills.
Let's use 18. Just to figure out. And then, so that's,
so you're talking about 25 versus 70.
that's right.
Okay.
So $45,000. And we do not know now how the economy is going to hold up. But we have a long history, even through the big recession in 2007 and 2008, where sales tax revenue did hold steady or increase. But it saw a decrease in 1 year in about 2014, when there was no national economic emergency. I don't think I know why. I do know that at some point the county stopped getting its sales tax on, I think, fuel oil. Does this sound right to anybody?
No.
No. Maybe that, maybe it's that kind of explanation. But the point I'm trying to get to is that it's reasonable for us to project that we'll have a similar recent sales tax next year. It's almost certain that we'll have an increase in real estate tax revenue at the same tax rate. And if it should happen that we have a decrease in sales tax revenue, that is part of why we have a fund balance, is to give us a rainy day fund. We don't have to project a bad economy in order to try, because we've already built a good fund balance. So this takes me back to whether or not we can afford a person for a full year. And I think we probably would want to have a tight belt. for instance, we do have in the amount of range of $50,000 or $60,000 budgeted for buildings every year. In general, the utilities, because this is gonna cover the fuel, the heat bill, and the electricity. And that runs maybe $40,000. We've got 20 in there, which historically we've put into putting up a new floor in the code officer's office, fixing the floor, or running some rewiring. A new telephone system, because the old phone system we work. So if we have a problem next year, making the budget flat, we need to not do building projects where we have discretion. And we need to not build sidewalks where we have discretion. This kind of thing will fit in, whether it's 1 year or 2 years, whether it's next year or not, it'll fit in without a tax increase. That might not be able to do what we want to.
I'd like to see how much the insurance would be, for a single plan, I think it's 7,900, I remember. Plus how much we'd have to pay in retirement.
Those numbers are there.
Yeah.
So you're saying wouldn't make a CDL a requirement, do you?
No,
Is there any more discussion on this? Code enforcement, code officer is not with us tonight. But you have in your packet the report, the codes and done, and you can see that she's working on fire inspections. Which are the other three construction permits that are in there. So that's what we have from her. Communications, we have anything to share with us?
Just that everything's going, as it should. So we're still doing that 2 newsletters that are going out every month, and they're still well received. And it's growing slightly, so we're like at 440 now. We hope for more, and I think we'll have more with this summer. We're going to send out a flyer that goes out to all of the people in the sewer district, so we'll go out with those bills, at a cost. The other thing is that, in terms of ADA compliance, all of the photos on our website have to have descriptions. So we have actually lots of photos, and they all require a description. So I'm looking into, having AI do it.
Is
So
that like a caption?
it's not a caption, you wouldn't see it. It's so that somebody who's blind, who would have a reader, a machine, it would see, this is a photo of the St. Lawrence River at sunset. And it just kind of reads it as it goes along. So, yeah, we have lots of photos. All right, otherwise I'm just adding them, so it doesn't affect our budget.
Good, thank you. The next department report is the asbestos report. And you'll see that in your packet. And with that, there is no drought control officer report, there is no report from our historian. With that,
I'd like to go on executive for discussion on personnel issues. What they call
Dean, quick question, with Jim, you're not gonna be cutting him totally out, he's still gonna be probably 10.
Well, if we need repairs stuff, you know, I mean, maybe
No, I'm not
construction,
talking
you know,
about,
yeah. No, because I could have Gary and Tom come out,
oh, okay.
Yeah.
They have to see out.
yes. Gary and Tom will,
So is that discussion about filling up position, for now, or? And it's one.
We're not making a decision tonight on that. We've been presented with the material.
Thank you.
One of the things that I would like to say is when Chris presented this, okay, it was about taking care of the balance of the year. And sort of not defending whether we should spend the money for another full-time role. Or going forward after the. Okay, with that, we said that.
Executive about personnel issue.
Is there any other business?
No,
An emotional one, or something?
you made the motion.
Okay.
Okay, by the time we're done.
Yeah, for the benefit of it.
Oh.